Hi, I'm DFL Chairman Ken Martin, and this is the Chair's Corner. When Governor Mark Dayton took office, one of his goals was to improve the working relationship between local and state government leaders. Under Republican leadership, local government aid, also known as LGA, was cut, leading to property tax increases throughout the state. At the same time, the property tax burden was shifted from commercial and industry property owners onto homeowners. Governor Dayton knew this had to change and was time to renew the partnership with local units of government. Here today to talk with me more about state and local government relationship and all the great things happening in his home city of St. Paul is St. Paul Mayor Chris Coleman. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Ken. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thank you again. And, Mayor Coleman, when we talk about LGA cuts and cuts to city services, what does this mean to communities here in the metro, but also throughout the state?
Well, cities across the state of Minnesota, whether you're a capital city like St. Paul or a regional center or a small town anywhere in the state, we're very, very dependent upon the relationship between the state and their local unit of government to put police officers on the street, to make sure their fire department was able to respond to emergencies, to do basic services. That might be a library, it might be an out-of-school time program, any number of things. And when local government aid became a political football under the Pawlenty administration, it really damaged the ability of cities to provide the quality of services, the safety that their residents demanded. And so we were just very thankful that when Governor Dayton came into office, he made that a priority. And when the DFL took control of both houses of the legislature, we actually got some relief from some of the cuts that had gone on for many years.
And the history of LGA, this was really a partnership that the state and local communities and local governments throughout the state created many years ago. Republicans and Democrats who believed that local government aid was a way to help equalize property taxes so property taxes didn't soar. And I think you saw the full results of this last legislative session when DFLers restored some of that money. We actually, first time in a decade, saw property taxes decreasing throughout the state.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Cities have very limited ways that they can raise the revenue that they need to provide services. And so if you're, the city of St. Paul, almost half of your general fund budget is police officers and firefighters. Those are just basic core services. And if the state pulls that out from underneath you, you still have to provide public safety, but the only place that you can go for support is local property taxes. So if you're a homeowner on fixed income, it was very, very hard. If you were a small business owner trying to get up and running, it made it very difficult, and yet they still needed a safe city to be in. So that's why this balance was critically important. And when the governor did in fact restore some of the cuts, still a long ways away from where we were originally before it became the political football it did, it allowed cities to either reduce or keep on balance the property taxes in their cities.
Right. What do you think these cuts over the plenty years and under other Republican majorities has meant to working families?
Well, you think about, your home and the investment that you make in your home, and so you can talk about your mortgage payment or your insurance payment, but if your property taxes keep going up, sometimes double digits at times, and we were making up in the city of St. Paul for the cuts and the challenges that we faced, we had to make some tough decisions. So it's an incredible burden for families, and it's an incredible burden for people on fixed incomes.
Right. Earlier this year, St. Paul was named by USA Today as the best romantic North American getaway. We've always known that St. Paul is special, and thanks to some big projects, now you'll be bringing more people than ever to the city. The Green Line, which runs between Minneapolis and St. Paul, has spurred about $2 billion in economic development before it opened. What's a long-range plan for the city? You've done a great job as mayor building the city with the Saints ballpark that's going to be opening in Lower Town and all the development down there. It's really fascinating to see.
Well, it's been absolutely a thrill to be a part of the resurgence of St. Paul, and so much of it is as a result of this public-private partnership between the state government, the federal government, the city of St. Paul, but also private developers that were reinvesting in the city, some of the new housing that's going up across the city. Really working on the University Avenue area to make sure that business owners, whether they've been here for a couple of decades or many generations, were able to continue to invest in the avenue. It's just there's this huge resurgence across the city, and it's been very exciting.
That's great. You've been you come from a political family. Your Your dad served the state of Minnesota probably as a Senate Majority Leader, one of the longest serving Senate Majority Leaders. What did you learn from your dad, and sort of, what has it meant to you to be able to continue in his footsteps in public service?
Well, it's been a great honor for me. My dad, cut his political teeth at the same time as his good friend Walter Mondale, and obviously had a chance to serve while Hubert Humphrey was in his at the highest levels of public service in this country. Took classes from Gene McCarthy over at St. Thomas before Gene even ran for Congress. And so that was an era when the state of Minnesota was leading the nation in so many different fronts. Really progressive thought about how you take care of your families, how you make sure that people in rural communities and urban communities all had the resources that they need. When education really was, placed on the pedestal that it deserves to be in terms of its importance, and it's a way to give kids a pathway out of poverty. Those were amazing lessons that my dad imparted to me, because whether it was the Minnesota Miracle or some of the far-reaching environmental legislation that was passed in the early 70s, you really, when you have that close of a seat to it, you really realize what government can be at its best.
Yeah, that's right. And you've been able to, not only in your career, help build the city of St. Paul, but communities throughout the state. And now, because of that, you've been recognized in your leadership position as a president of the National League of Cities. And you talk a little bit about that work and what it's meant, being able to travel around the country and help communities achieve the dreams that they desire.
Well, it's been a great honor for me, whether it was working with other mayors across the state of Minnesota, particularly on the local government aid issue, or whether it's been working with mayors across the country on issues that affect cities of all shapes and sizes. What you learn is again, communities that are thriving are ones that have a state government that is a partner. Communities that are thriving are ones that are investing in their future, that are trying to deal with issues of poverty, of inequality, particularly racial and economic inequality. That's when communities are at their best. And when you forget to work on those things, when you forget to invest in the public realm, those cities start to fall apart very quickly. And so I think we're blessed in the state of Minnesota to have as strong of cities as we do, because as our cities go, so goes the state.
Yeah. Just last question for you. What is, as someone who's grown up in DFL circles, what has the DFL meant to you? And what do you think it means to Minnesotans in their everyday lives?
Well, going back from my earliest memories, really, I remember growing up with the picture of my dad shaking hands with John Kennedy, and really understanding the story of the birth of the Democratic Farmer Labor Party, and really understanding it as three, really important parts of the constituency that we had to make sure that we were working, looking out for working men and women, looking out for our farmers, looking out for the well-being of the entire populace of the state of Minnesota, and those principles are just been embedded in me. It's just I think it's a great party, and we've had our challenges over the years sometimes, as we all do. But the fact of the matter is, I think we're just we're so strong right now. And the DFL is we're in a real-time experiment with what happens when you are in a state that invests in its future versus Wisconsin, which is a state that's disinvesting in its future and its people. And I got to tell you, it's early in the process, but I'd much rather be in Minnesota than in the state of Wisconsin.
That's right. Well, I think the DFL party has delivered again on its promises of not only investing in people but in communities. Once again, those promises that were made many years ago by wise political leaders in this state to partner with local governments, we're now starting to turn the corner again and helping to invest in communities throughout the state. And we can't say thank you enough for your leadership in that regard. I know you've traveled throughout the state many times over to spread the message of how we need to invest in communities, and now you're traveling the nation. So thank you for your leadership to us here in Minnesota, your leadership to the country, and we look forward to working with you down the road.
And thanks for your great leadership of the DFL.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Coleman, for visiting with me today about the DFL and what we're working on to bring down property taxes and how the mayor is working to bring jobs to St. Paul. As always, I appreciate your continued support of the DFL party. And if you are interested in volunteering at a local or statewide level, please visit www.dfl.org. Working with our DFL leaders like Mayor Coleman, we will build a better Minnesota.